Divine peace and blessings. This is the Divine Prince, the Witch Doctor, Yellow Pocahontas, Medicine Man, Black Hawk Voodoo Chief, Divine Prince, here in this beautiful, historic, and most haunted city of New Orleans, Louisiana. This morning I was going through my email, and I have a beloved friend, community member who resides in Ghana, who tends to post very interesting, informative, articulate posts about all manner of topics that relate not only to just Ghana locally, but the Pan-African diaspora. And I enjoy his posts. I enjoy reposting his posts, sharing them with a bigger audience, if you will. My concern, however, is when my beloved, my friend, sort of goes into these overtly religious posts, and they have this extremely aggressive Christian children of Christ slant to them. And I want to, in a humble, peaceful way, address not only him, but the community at large, our brother and sister in Africa. Those who are active in social media, those who are active on the internet, those who do feel some interconnectedness with us, who want to share a message, a business, a dream, friendship. For whatever reason, we come together, and we come together at the crossroads that is often social media. The message that I want you to understand, and let me preface this by saying, I've never purported to be, wanted to be, positioned myself to be a leader of Black America, a spokesperson of Africans here in America. I represent Voodoo. I speak to, represent Voodoo, Pan-African expressions of Voodoo, New Orleans expression of Voodoo, African American expression of Voodoo with the greater audience, with the greater wide world Voodoo community. But I've never tried to be Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X. I know many of you have that complex, that hero. You don't want to be a participant. You don't want to be a soldier. You're destined to be the major. You're destined to be God. You're destined to be king. I get that, but let me make it clear that's never been my bag. That's in a realm of ego and competition that I have never been a part of, never even understood. So let me make that clear. When I speak in generalities, when I say we, when I say us, I am talking about the Pan-African diaspora, but I'm also talking about the Pan-African diaspora that embraces ATR, traditional, indigenous, African-based religions and systems. Now, there are some who would argue where Christianity fits into that, where Islam fits into that. My personal position on that, I don't embrace the religions, the philosophies of the oppressor, of the colonizer, period. I know I've been brought up in it, raised in it, coexist in it, in this system here in America, in the United States, but I make a concerted effort every day I open my eyes, every day I draw a breath, to draw in more and more Pan-African understanding, living, practice, spirituality into my world and into those who choose to intersect at the crossroads with my world at any given point along all of our collective and individual journeys. So I don't speak for Black America. I don't speak for African Americans and what they should and shouldn't do and how they should and shouldn't believe. I don't see us all as being homogeneous. We're not monolithic. We're not one thing. We have a diversity of languages we speak, a diversity of cultures that we were born from, a diversity of experiences. So I don't support that. I tend not to support people whose vibration tends towards that. Uh, I may have answered some questions many of you have just now. I don't tend to support that vibration. However, I support what's true, what's pure, what's spirit, what's African, what's indigenous, what's holistic. And the message that I want to make clear to you is that often when those of us who are seeking something from Africa in terms of spirituality and religion, in terms of culture, in terms of philosophy, we seek a word from the ancestors. We seek a word that's not from the mouths of the colonizers. So it's not helpful when you bring the Christianity. We already know that. That's how we got here. I would dare say African Americans are experts in Christianity and the dark side of that religion. And as I've said in many other videos, Islam to me is the flip side of the same coin. They're not very different. They're culturally a little different, but they're not very different. They come from the same root in many cases. So I don't see that as being productive for the Pan-African consciousness. I don't see that as being productive for the African of any ethnicity, wherever they would exist in the world. I don't see that as being productive. I trust the words of my ancestors. I trust their spiritual understanding. I trust their spiritual cosmologies. I trust their science, which is where much of our science, our math, and our present day understanding originates. So it makes sense to me to go to the source, to go to the parent, the grandparents, the ancestral spirits. So what we desire from you, Africa, what we desire from you, West Africa, is not the new modern day evangelical, Christianity with the West African slant. We don't want to hear it. We don't need to hear it. Been there, done that. It's not beneficial to the argument. It delays the argument. We want to know about you. We want to know about the country, the culture, the continent, the history, the practice, separate from what your colonizers have now forced upon you, just as they forced it upon us. So we can find common language if you go back to the root, if you go back to who you are, as we continue to find who we are along this journey. Speak to me in Ewe, speak to me in Yoruba, speak to me in any other traditional cultural language. And we know language is music, language is symbolism, language is religion, language is spirituality, language is clothing, language is jewelry. It's all those things that make up who you are. We already know the colonizer. We don't need that reinforced upon us in any way by our West African brother and sister. And that is my message for you today. All is a blessing. Ashe.